Welcome to another episode of FaceTime. Today we have a very special episode, although we do say that every time we have an episode. Today we are talking about the military. Now, we did this once before. It was with my buddy Sam Nelson and my other buddy, Colin Anderson. And we didn't really know what we were talking about, and we still don't. But we might know a little bit more now. It's about a year later. Sam Nelson is here again.
Hello. How's it going?
All right. Well, Sam is now a Marine.
I am.
Yep.
I made it, yes.
That's right. He's home on RA, Recruiter's Assistance.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. All right. Nice seeing you, Sam.
All right.
All right. Let me talk a little bit more about our other guest here. So we also have the Schnieder triplets, but it's just two of them. So I don't know what you call that.
Twins.
I couldn't tell you.
2/3 of the Schnieder triplets. So sitting next to me is Will.
Hey, I'm Will.
Okay, yeah, and Will's going to Illinois Institute of Technology and doing naval ROTC, much like myself.
Yeah.
Good man, this Will. And of course, we have Ryan.
That's true. My name's Ryan Schnieder. I'm a cadet at the United States Military Academy, West Point. Yeah.
Good to go.
Good to go. All right, so yeah, like I said before, we did talk about the military in another episode, and we weren't in the military yet. And I mean, three of us here technically are in training. We're training to be officers, but Sam is actually in the military. So, Sam, why don't you start talking about it a little bit? What was your experience like at boot camp?
Okay, so the infamous Marine Corps boot camp. It's a wild time. It really is. It's kind of, I don't know, you get there and it's just a completely different lifestyle than what you're used to. You learn how to speak differently, talk like a Marine, as it were. You learn how to eat differently, how to walk differently. They basically break everything down Barney style, is what they call it, and they build you up from the ground from there. There's good times and there's bad times. It's mostly all bad times, pretty much. What you do in boot camp is you just base everything off of what you've done before something you're currently doing. So say I went on like the Reaper hike, for instance. That's the last hike you do during the Crucible. And that you'll be hiking, you'll be like, oh, well, this wasn't as bad as the beach hike that I did, or, what have you, anything like that. And that's how I definitely got through boot camp. I would always say, oh, this isn't as bad as what we've done before. So you just keep building off of that. And you see everybody who's further along in training ahead of you. Say you're a recruit and you see some Marines marching around the depot, and those guys are like gods. Like, you look up to them, you're like, man, I can't wait till I look like that when I march, or I get to unbutton my top button on my blouse and stuff like that. Just little things you look forward to that really get you through training. So,
Okay, cool. And then, Ryan, you had some sort of basic training at West Point, right?
I did. I went through cadet basic training at West Point this summer. So normally that's a 6-week basic training. Because of COVID, they had to condense it down to 4 weeks. I can second a lot of what Sam said. So it's a lot of teaching you the basics, making you learn respect and discipline, breaking down your individuality and who you are as a person to rebuild you up as a new person. It's a lot different than the life you were probably used to before. It makes you think a lot less of yourself and a lot more of the team. Like you said, a lot of it does suck, but most of it's just getting through it. I can't say I enjoyed a lot of it, but you enjoy the small moments. and it really teaches you to be close to the people around you, and I wouldn't trade that for the world. I'm really looking forward to cadet field training this summer, so I'll have another 4 weeks of field training. That's more of what you would typically think of when you're thinking of like that Army stuff, out in the field shooting those big guns, learning about artillery and all that type of thing. And hopefully I'll get into air assault or airborne school this summer as well, but that's all to come.
Very cool. All right, so Will, you and I, we were both supposed to go to NSI, which is, for those that don't know, it's New Student Indoctrination, and that got canceled because of COVID. Womp womp. So did you guys have anything?
Yeah, we had it was an online training. It was more really just learning about different procedures and how we're supposed to talk, stuff like that within the Navy. It wasn't as much physical because it was online, but it was still an educational experience, and we're supposed to have training next summer once school gets out.
Is that NSI?
Yeah, I'm going to be going to NSI if COVID allows it. But if not, over the next 4 years, I have summer cruises, which are just opportunities for us to get experience alongside the fleet. And so I know that a lot of it would be following either enlisted or officers, depending on which year you are. So that kind of training kind of prepares you for like what you're actually going to see once you make it into the Navy.
Yeah, that's like the same exact thing that I'm doing, obviously, because it's Navy ROTC. But they haven't told us that we are doing NSI this summer.
They're expecting us to be able to. It kind of it varies based on which school you're going to.
Are they going to be doing it in like phases this summer?
I believe they are. Yeah.
Well, shoot, I guess I'm doing training this summer. Well, and then that thing that you did that was online, was that like the week before your classes started?
Yeah, it's the week before classes started, and it's mainly a lot of meeting who the officers are going to be, and then the upperclassmen within ROTC.
Were your classes online?
Yeah, all my classes were online. The whole Chicago Consortium, which is the schools that make up the ROTC units in Chicago. So we met with all of the upcoming freshmen, and they went through the training that we did.
Huh. Well, I guess that's what happens when you go to school in Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So we had a similar thing, but ours was everything's in person, which was super nice. Like we had that week-long training before classes, and that was kind of brutal with all the upperclassmen screaming at us. Like there was no screaming for you?
No, there's none. All of our stuff is online at this point. They're trying to distance everything.
That must be nice.
Bunch of bull.
Yeah, this upcoming semester, their plan is to reintegrate us back into in-person classes and training.
Okay.
Well, what does that look like then? In person, like how would it differ?
Well, we have a PT in the mornings. It's going to be 3 times a week. 6 o'clock, we have to be there on the field ready to start PT, and they'll go through that. And then we have classes every other day. And so those are going to be like Naval Science Laboratory. So meeting with officers, and then we have I have navigations next semester. So that'll be with the fourth class. All of us fourth class people taking that course.
Mm-hmm. Also, remember, if any of you didn't get anything for Christmas, PT is free.
That is true.
That
is free.
That's true. Well, very nice. Except for a gym membership. That is not free.
It's outside.
PT is free.
Join the military. It's free.
You actually get paid for it.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
Indeed.
Not a lot.
Will, that's kind of interesting how you talk about, meeting the officers, stuff like that. As an enlisted rank, your interaction with officers is very limited. You usually don't ever talk to an officer unless you're being briefed by an officer for whatever reason, or unless he's giving you a class. So one thing I didn't realize about boot camp, the first month, and then throughout boot camp, but the first month in particular, you go to a lot of class. And you sit down in the theater at MCRD and listen to whoever run a suck about whatever. And that's typically when you would see an officer, whether it's our company commander or our series commander. That's the only time you'd ever see an officer. So it's kind of weird that, at least to me, I don't know how the interaction with you is with officers.
Mainly we have courses, and those are all run by our ROTC instructors, which are officers, and that's the main source of interaction that we do have. And then we'll have different meetings with them to talk about like our academics, where we stand within the unit, stuff like that.
Yeah. Huh.
I kind of have the opposite experience of that because being at the academy, you see a large inflation of brass there. So I'll see, majors, colonels, or full birds, and even generals on a regular basis. It's a lot more than you would actually see in the big army. So it is a new experience, and it's definitely stressful being around that much high brass.
Oh, yeah.
But it's pretty cool. You see some important people. I'm thankful I've got to experience it.
Well,
Yeah.
Ryan, do you get a lot of saluting in?
All the time, every single day.
Yeah, you see.
I can't go outside usually without at least saluting a couple people.
Yeah, I've only saluted like a couple times. But for me, the difference between me and Will is that like all my stuff has been in person with ROTC. That's the only consistency as far as online versus in person. Like in ROTC has always been in person. So I see my officers a lot, and seeing them is really cool, honestly. And for the most, like if you're at class, you're not in uniform, so you don't salute them there. If you're inside, which is most of the time I see them while I'm in uniform and they're in uniform, that's like the only time I would, so I hardly ever see them outside while both of us are wearing a uniform. Mm-hmm. I mean, they go to work wearing a uniform, but I don't. For me, my classroom is their work. So,
well, even then, for us, like the building that I work in at AAS, it's Assault Amphibian School. There are a lot of higher-ranking enlisted personnel and officers. So anytime you pass an NCO, staff NCO, or an officer, you always get the proper greeting of the day.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like what you guys do too. Like,
Yeah.
good morning, sir. Good afternoon,
Exactly,
sir.
yeah.
Good evening, sir.
yeah, we got that drilled into us.
Yeah, definitely. That's another big thing. Like if you didn't say the proper greeting in boot camp, especially like if you didn't say the proper greeting of the day, have fun because you get smoked by a drill instructor.
Greeting is the equalizer.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, no, we got that. The greeting of the day, we got that all the time. And I remember this one time. It was like towards the end of the semester. We were walking back from PT. A couple of the guys were walking back to our dorm, and then we see some third class, some sophomores, driving in their car, and we're like walking up to the light to cross, and then they're driving in the car. They stop at the light, and then they're like driving. When they're driving by us, this sophomore rolls down his window. He yells at my buddy. He goes, "Greeting of the day!" as he's driving by us.
Yeah.
Just to mess with us.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know exactly. If you didn't say the proper greeting of the day to a drill instructor, if you just walked past him, he'd be like, "No, eyeballs you. No proper greeting, get back." But like obviously he's screaming at you.
Yeah.
So and then he has you sprinting up and down, like the chow hall, like whatever, because you didn't say the proper greeting of the day. Mm-hmm. It's simple stuff like that, but it's all for a reason. Yeah. Like little small things they teach you, how to conduct yourself, small attention to detail, like with uniforms or like cleanliness, your rack, literally anything. It's all like geared towards combat, at least in the Marine Corps. Because if you miss a small detail in combat, that could mean lives. Mm-hmm. So I understand now why. In boot camp, I didn't. I was like, why are these guys doing this to me? But it makes a lot of sense.
We even dealt with that preparing for the show today. We were burning the strings off of our uniforms before getting ready.
Yeah.
We need to look presentable.
Add some
The
IPs.
small details do make a big difference.
Yeah. Did you tell that story to them?
Oh,
About the IP? Tell the story.
yeah. We were doing the battalion commander's inspection, and Lieutenant Colonel Farsad was on deck. And
Wait, should you say the name?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, he's the RTR. Oh no, excuse me. He's the battalion commander, obviously. And but before that, a bunch of drill instructors will come in, and we were all in our service alpha uniforms. We call it the pickle suits, just this green uniform. Mm-hmm. And this drill instructor came up to one of my buddies. I think his name is Renteria, and he saw this IP on him, and he just grabs it, and he's like, "There's just no way. This is the longest IP I've ever seen." And he just starts walking back. He's like, "This is like 30 inches long. There's just no way." And he starts like building intensity in his voice, just walking back.
There's just no way.
And like the whole thing is like unraveling, like his uniform. He just keeps blowing it. Yeah,
That's hilarious.
yeah.
Jeez.
Speaking of the uniforms, I know these two didn't have a basic training, but did you ever have to do uniform drills?
Like, what do you mean?
So for us, a uniform drill was how fast can you change from this uniform into this uniform, and if you don't make that time, you're getting smoked.
We did something. It's similar, but it's just them playing games with you. It's just like they'll be like blouse off the body, ready, move, or like trousers off the body, ready, move. Trousers on the body, ready, move. Okay, put your left leg in, put your right leg in. Like just
5, 4.
Yep.
3.
But in the Marine Corps, it's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You like it's like lightning fast, and you'll never make it. You'll never make the drill instructor's time hack.
No.
Yeah, like ever. And you're not supposed to because he's trying to mess with you. Yeah, they'd always give us time hacks like that for anything, like even showering. Especially during phase 1, you'll hear the drill instructor yell into the rain room, is what we call it. He'll go, 500, like that. And you'll go, 500, aye, sir. And then he'll go, 99, 87, 65. And like he'll just start counting down, like just from 500, just like that. And if you didn't give him his volume, meaning like if you didn't yell loud enough, he would say, "Okay, screw you, 400," and he'd just keep like lowering the time that you had to do it, and then eventually he'd just go, "Okay, 59, 58, 57," and he'd just start counting down from 60. And it's 60 Marine Corps seconds. I think we did the math one day. It was like 500 was like a minute and 20 seconds, or maybe a minute or something like that in real time. But yeah, they'll give you like for uniforms and stuff, like you were saying. Yeah, it's always time hacks like that.
Yeah. So, did you ever have an inspection or anything?
No, we didn't. Just especially with being in Chicago, they didn't want us directly interacting with any of the officers or enlisted personnel that were within the unit. So all of our stuff was online.
So you're just skating by, aren't you?
Yeah, next semester
Jeez.
they're supposed to integrate us back in, but it's all up to how things go within the next couple months.
It's really all up to Chicago then.
Yeah.
That blows.
Wow.
So it's us and Northwestern, UIC, quite a few colleges that are under the same regulations right now.
You see, Northwestern actually beat Purdue. I was at that game.
Yeah.
You see, Army actually beat Navy.
Oh.
Well, good thing I didn't make it to the Naval Academy, huh? Hey.
Good thing.
Yeah, good
That is a good
thing. Subject change. So, Will, you're reapplying, right?
Yes, I have applications at the Naval Academy. We'll see how it goes. Said it's a long process. There's a lot of paperwork with that, and interviews, congressional nominations, stuff like that. And it's a slow process, like anything, but I'm gonna get it done.
He also has an application to West Point.
Yes,
Go
I do.
Army, beat Navy.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, we'll take that to the streets after this. Anyway, so how did your interviews go? You had one with did you get one with Jim Banks?
Yeah, Jim Banks and Mike Braun. Both of them went pretty good. hopefully everything pans out and I can get accepted to an academy. But if not, I love ROTC and the people that I'm with there. So I'm very happy to be where I'm at, and it's going to be the same commission whether I go through ROTC or an academy. So in the end, it'll make no difference, but it's just the experience of being at the academy and the different leadership opportunities that you get there. That's would be what I would desire.
The one main difference right now, though, is that if you are at an academy, you're active duty. So I'm currently active duty, whereas our ROTC is obviously reserve. It's in the name. So they commission reserve, but you guys can choose to go active duty, can't you?
Well, I know that when we go on our cruises, like in the summer, those trainings, we're technically active duty then. So that activates, and then we go back to reserves.
Cruises?
Well, it's called
they
cruise.
like to go on cruises, like Carnival.
That's our summer training.
It's called cruise, but really it's just, getting assigned to a ship or whatnot for a few weeks.
Gotcha.
Usually the ones with like water slides and
the fun ones. They have like the stuffed Mickey Mouses.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
See, that's why you want to join the Navy. We do the fun stuff.
Yep. On the Disney
we
cruise.
we do the real stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, Sam, I guess we'll just take you there, and then you can do the real stuff, huh?
Sounds good.
Yeah, your boat's not as big as ours.
Okay there, bud.
I mean, you are a department of the Navy, but...
like I said earlier, we're the men's department of the Navy.
Well, and I got these jeans in the men's department, so...
Nice. I got these shoes issued to me at clothing. And, and boot camp.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, my producer is saying that we have to wrap things up. So, welcome back to FaceTime. And today we are still going to be talking about military. So, right now, we want to talk about why each of us chose the military, why we chose officer versus enlisted, and why we chose our branch. So, I think we should probably start with Ryan.
All right, I'd love to start off. So, I've never had anyone in my family besides great grandfather who I know of who's actually served in the military. He served in the Army Air Corps before it became the Air Force. So, as you know, I'm going to West Point. It's something that I've always wanted to do, not necessarily West Point, but I knew I've always wanted to be in the Army. I feel like it's my duty to serve and give back, and it's something I'm proud to say that I'm doing right now. But, that's about it.
Will?
I guess why I chose the Navy, I chose it because it was the best branch, and I've always grown up along the water, stuff like that. So I guess being in the Navy was kind of second nature, and it allows me to stay connected to kind of a experience growing up that I loved.
All right. Sam, do you want to go?
Yes, I'll go. By the way, the Marine Corps is actually the best branch, and here's why.
I knew you were going
False
to say
news.
I don't think so.
I joined the Marine Corps because I just wanted to be a certified badass. Pretty much that's why I wanted to join. My grandfather was in the Marine Corps for 33 years. He was a sergeant major, which is the highest enlisted rank you can get to. He was definitely a heavy influence on me as a kid. I'd always go over to his house and we'd read Leatherneck magazine. It was just big, Marine Corps magazine. We'd look at all his pictures, all of his books. I'd look at all his uniforms, and I was just obsessed with it instantly. So ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to join, and I couldn't join any other branch except for the Marine Corps. And just the standards that the Marine Corps upholds with honor, courage, commitment, our core values, just breeds leaders and good people, just good dudes in general. So it's definitely a good branch to be in.
I will add, those are the same core values as the Navy.
Well, here's the thing, Luke, about the Navy. as you guys are our taxi drivers to wherever we want to go.
Okay, so why did you choose enlisted?
Huh?
Why did you choose enlisted?
I chose enlisted because I wanted to get my hands dirty. I don't have anything against the officer route or anything like that. But being enlisted, you have little bit more hands-on with jobs, actually doing them. Because when you're an officer, you're commanding people. You're leading, telling people what to do. You're not necessarily in there with it all the time. Obviously, there's times where I see officers on the ramps where the AAVs are, the amphibious assault vehicles, working on them, operating them, stuff like that. But I went enlisted for that reason and because I could get college paid for with the post 9/11 GI Bill. So, and that's what I opted in for in the Marine Corps. And it's 100% coverage of college, as long as you keep a C average in that college. So, yeah, that's why I chose the Marine Corps.
That's a good point with the GI Bill. You see,
Yep.
ROTC isn't 100% paid for,
Right.
which is a common misconception. I'm not getting any money right now.
To coverage for school?
Right, yeah, it's a scholarship, and even then, if you get the scholarship, it's tuition plus a stipend.
There's an application for it, and you have to fill it out, obviously, before you start the academic school year. But if you are picked up for that scholarship, it mainly covers just tuition, and then depending on which school you go to and other things, hopefully provide some kind of coverage for your room and board to some extent.
Yeah.
So my experience with that as well. I was actually between ROTC and the academy. I was fortunate to get an ROTC scholarship that would have paid for my tuition. So I had the choice of whether or not I wanted to do ROTC or West Point. Why I went towards West Point is because I appreciated the prestige behind it and the morals and values that the academy holds. So as far as that goes, my education is paid for, although I wouldn't say it's necessarily free because I do have a 5-year active duty service commitment following my commission as an officer, as well as a 3-year reserve commitment on top of that. Now, whether or not you want to just serve that service commitment and then leave or make a career out of that is up to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know some officers at Purdue who are getting out after their 5 years. Some they're 03s and they're going to be getting out after 5. Some are going back to the fleet. But I want to talk about why I chose the military, why I chose the Navy, and I have family members who have served multiple different branches. It was all on my dad's side too, not my mom's side. So on my dad's side, my grandpa enlisted in the Air Force. I had uncle in the Air Force, uncle in the Navy, and aunt in the Army. So a bunch of different branches. But you see, I've never been super close to that side of my family because they live in a different state. So that I wouldn't say that had any influence on me, my decision for the military. I would say there's been a couple things that have TV.
Yeah. Everybody.
I think that's part of it. One was a show called Hawaii Five-0. Mm-hmm. Everybody's heard of it, but this one was the newer one that I think they just ended this show. So the main character, Steve McGarrett, he was a Navy SEAL, and he was top of his class at the Naval Academy. So that's how I heard about the Naval Academy, and this was back in like 6th, 7th grade when I heard about this. So when I heard about that, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Right.
Like that's what I want to do. And so that's kind of why the Navy was and the Naval Academy. That's how it came to my attention.
This kind of goes for any branch, but the Navy and like the military itself really allows you to be part of something like bigger than yourself. And like I've always wanted to give back to my community, and I feel like the military allows you to do that in a way that it's almost like a selfless act, and it it really makes you feel like you're doing something with your life.
Yeah.
Yep, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
The deeper meaning, that's really something that draws me to the military. I wish I could say that it's because I have a servant's heart, but really it's just because I think it's badass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, well, no, go ahead, Ryan.
I know we talked a little bit about the money aspect of it. There are a lot of ways that the government and that the military can pay for your education. But at its core, it's not about the money. If you're going there for an education and for the government to pay for your education, you're in the wrong place. I would say for all of us, the main reason why we chose to serve is, like Will said, to become something bigger than ourselves and to give back in a lot of ways that you couldn't in any other profession.
Right.
I've always just felt called to the military.
Yeah, I agree with that. I always said to myself, if I didn't join the Marine Corps, I don't even know if I'd be able to live with myself, kind of thing, because I'd always be regretting it, not joining and doing something else. Yeah. So, and the thing is, it gives you a lot as well. You're serving the country, but it teaches you how to be a adult and how to be a grown man or woman. So, definitely with the confidence building, that's a huge thing. In the military in general, you have to do a lot of stuff that is scary. And training, I haven't been deployed or anything like that, but obviously just in training is what I've experienced. And it's stuff that it just builds confidence. You're like, yeah, I did it. Let's do it again. Let's do, stuff that you just get that mindset of confidence and get can-do kind of attitude.
Yeah.
I like what Sam said. It definitely does teach you to grow up at a younger age. You're doing a lot of stuff that, most 17 to 22, 23-year-olds wouldn't be doing. It teaches you a lot of discipline and respect, and it teaches you to grow up at a younger age than most.
Definitely. There's always times in boot camp where the drone instructor would be making us do dumb, stuff, and I'd be like, I wonder what everybody back home's doing right now. They're probably sitting on the chair, eating bonbons, watching whatever kind of thing.
Yeah. And I was.
Yes, and I bet you were. But I always kind of got a kick out of that a little bit. It made me laugh, but yeah, it definitely makes you grow up, and it's just the stuff. I kind of already said this, but just the stuff like how to greet people properly, how to act in public, because I am no longer just Sam Nelson. I'm a part of the Marine Corps now. So anything I do or anything I say is a direct representation of the Marine Corps. Whether I say it's not, they always say on the news, it wouldn't be Sam Nelson killed 2 kids in a drunk driving accident. It'd be former United States Marine killed 2 kids in a drunk driving accident, something like that. And that carries you, and you have that okay, I need to act.
You have that burden,
right? Well,
I would say it's a burden.
It's a burden, but it's for the greater good though.
I think it's something you can be very proud of.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
In one way, I think it's a weight that you carry on your shoulders, and in another way, it's pride.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And another thing. We're government property now.
Yeah.
So.
That is true.
Kind of
Sell
scary.
your souls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's right. And we signed the papers. Mm-hmm. Sign here. Sign here. Here.
Not here. Not here. Yep.
Yep. So why don't we talk about some of the stories now? Huh?
Okay. Sounds good.
How about we start with Sam, because he's got plenty.
Okay. What do you want to hear?
Well, you've probably told me a lot of stories, but what's something you haven't told them?
Well,
is there any funny stories that you can tell?
Yes, yeah. So there's this in boot camp. There's this kid named Rainey, and he was notorious for sleepwalking and sleep talking. And there's something called fire watch in the military, or fire guard, or day watch, or whatever you call it. We call it fire watch. And basically, it's during the nighttime, there's always somebody up. It could be, usually in boot camp, it was 4 people. You had one on front post by the front hatch or door, one on back post, and then 2 rovers who just walked around the squad bay or the area we lived in. But Rainey one night, he gets up out of his rack sleepwalking. We're in skivvies, so we're in a green T-shirt and these green shorts. Mm-hmm. And he takes his pillow at right shoulder arms, which is it's a drill movement. So he's holding his pillow at right shoulder arms like you would your rifle, and he starts walking towards back post, and he walks out of the squad bay. And we're on second deck, or the second floor of this barracks building. There's 3 decks, and he walks up on the third deck to 1063. That was that platoon up there, and he walks past back post, and back post kind of looks at him like who the hell are you, kind of thing. And and the drill instructor from 63 stops me. He's like, who are you? Like, he was so confused because this dude is just in skivvies walking around with his pillow at right shoulder arms. And Rainey goes, he's like, this recruit was told to come on the third deck, perform right shoulder arms, sir. And he's like dead asleep, too. He doesn't remember any of this. And the drill instructor, he was like, what the hell are you doing, you? And he like guided him back to his rack and put him to sleep. But, man, Rainey, you'd walk by Rainey on fire watch, and he'd scream stuff like dirty. Because we were dirty Delta, and that was one of the things we always said was dirty. And like, aye, sir, like just stuff like that. And it would creep people out. So, yeah, there were a couple, like, fire watch people would go around and just slap people in the face super hard, like, if you're dead asleep. Like, my buddy Perez used to do it to me at MCT all the time, and he'd be like, wake up, Nelson, and then boom, just slap me right in the face, and I'd wake up out of a dead sleep, like, I can't say that.
Yeah, you can't say it.
I know. Yep. Certain things I can't say, but basically I'd be like, God, Perez, like, what the hell? And like screaming in the middle of the night, and you just hear him like shuffle around. And I remember
he's like kind of.
Yeah, well, you got to think Perez he's 19, but he looks like he's 45, and he's kind of chunky. And he has a really bad receding hairline. It's just like the hair ring.
Yeah, I hope he's not listening right now.
Yeah, Prez, if you're listening to this, you're a poser. All right. And then he slapped me once, and I yelled at him, but he tried to come up to me again, and we have bunk beds, and he was like pretending to wake up Smith, and Smith slapped right underneath me. And he was like, Smithy. And I was wide awake, like laying on my side, like looking at Perez like that. And I'm like, he's going to try to slap me again. And he rears up again, and he tries to slap me, and I like rear back like that. And he's like, oh, what the? And like, he was so scared. And he runs
shuffles away.
And he gets in his rack. Like, he was probably like 7 racks down from me. And he's like, yo, Nelson. I can't. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, he just starts yelling at me, and I yell back at him, and then we go to bed. So
that's funny.
And then there's always the times like drill instructors are just, screaming at you. I was coming out of the rain room, as they call it, the shower, and like I was saying earlier, there's time hacks for everything, and what they do is they'll go, change over, and then you say, change over, right, sir. Then that means like you switch spots. So like half the squad bay will be in the rain room, the other half will be in the squad bay, like getting undressed or something like that. And they gave us a time hack, so I was like booking it out of there. And I just have my hygiene kit, and this hygiene kit's just full of like hygiene stuff that you would clean yourself with. And so I have my towel around my waist and my shower shoes. And so obviously I was butt naked under my towel, and I go around the corner to exit the head or the bathroom, and the follow series chief drill instructor walks on deck, and he puts his hands in my face. He's like, get back, get back. Because you're supposed to keep a 1 arm's distance away from all, drone instructors. And all of a sudden, 4 drone instructors just come on to me and like are just screaming at me. Like all their covers are like smacking me in the face and stuff like that. And my towel.
You're naked under the towel.
Yeah, I'm naked. My towel starts falling down. And it falls down in the back completely. So my butt's just hanging out of my towel, and I'm like trying to hold it there while I'm getting just smoked over by like 5 other drone instructors. That was probably like training day 4. That was super early.
Yeah. No, Colin told me that because that was like in the first letter you sent him.
Oh yeah.
And another thing, I never sent Sam a letter during boot camp.
Yeah, you didn't.
Wow.
But here's the thing: I didn't expect.
I didn't send you one either.
Yeah, it's kind of a common theme, isn't it?
Yeah,
but
I have both of your addresses. Of course, it's useless now.
Yeah,
and I wrote Sam a letter. Never sent it.
But you didn't send it. I'm thinking because my best friend Colin Anderson wrote me a letter in boot camp, and then John Anderson, another one of my really good buddies, wrote me a letter in boot camp. And Colin, in his letter, he was like, Luke and John should be sending you letters soon. I got John's, never got Luke's. And I was like, it'd be really funny if Luke didn't send me a letter because that's something he would do.
Well, you know me, just a joker.
So
Always
it actually
making me laugh.
cracked me up that he didn't send me a letter because I can just see his face in like boot camp. I was like, that son of a. So
That son of a.
yeah,
Son of a.
yeah.
All right, so Ryan, you got any funny stories?
Yeah, I
that
have
you're
a
allowed to
couple.
tell.
Yeah, of course. So about the first half of our training was what they call green phase. That's a lot of garrison stuff. So you're sitting through a lot of classes, lectures, and briefs. One of the big things is that you don't fall asleep during those briefs, or you're gonna get in a lot of trouble. Once that brief is over, you're getting smoked. And if anyone doesn't know what smoking means, it's whatever
Destroyed.
punishment that
Slayed.
they choose. Usually they would put us in like the front leaning rest position for however long they decided. That's where you're holding the upwards push-up position. One of the, I actually don't know if I can say the name, one of the funnier punishments that they make us do, can I say it? It was called the monkey fuck.
The F-bomb.
And so basically what that was is a squat, but you'd cross your arms in front of you and hold your legs and bob up and down. And it was just it was humiliating.
Right.
And at the same time it smoked the hell out of you. It hurt.
Yeah.
So second phase of our training is a lot more of the field stuff. You're out in like the wilderness. You're doing a lot of rucking, teaching you how to fight, and you ruck from one location to the next and set up camp, and you stay there, you do your training for the day, and you sleep. So I made the poor decision. We set up a patrol base. We were getting ready for bed. One of the big things they told us is, do not let your rifle get stolen. Keep your rifle on you. Keep it in your sleeping bag. Otherwise, you're going to be in a world of hurt. So it was raining that night. There's a big tropical storm coming through. And they decided to let us set up hooches. Do you know what a hooch is, Sam?
What is it, like a little mini tent over your sleeping system?
Yeah, so you're like poncho.
Yeah, poncho and yeah.
So you take your poncho, you set it up, put some sticks in it,
Yeah.
basically make a little tent. I thought, well, my hooch is set up, so there's a wall right here, and I'm sleeping on the other side of it. I just set my rifle down beneath my equipment.
Oh, no bueno.
And fell asleep. Well, I woke up in the middle of the night, went to reach for my rifle, and it was gone. And I had the worst
But your
gut
heart
feeling.
dropped.
Yeah, my
Oh,
heart
yeah.
dropped. I woke up my buddy in the hooch next to me, and I'm like, Alex, my rifle's gone. What do I do? What do I do? So I get up and pretend like I have to pee, and I'm just walking around looking for my rifle, pretending like I have to pee. And my platoon sergeant walks up. He's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "You're not patrolling. You're not keeping guard." why are you up right now? He's like, oh, I have to pee and I can't find my rifle.
Oh,
He's like,
no.
that's your own problem. You better go back to bed. You're gonna pay for that in the morning. So I woke up, and the next morning, right in the middle of our patrol base, there's about 4 rifles set up, a little teepee right there.
Yeah.
Like a
And
hasty sack.
I see my rifle with my number on the buttstock. I'm like, oh my God, my rifle and the little rifle teepee there. I go up and get it, and they start calling out the numbers for the rifles. That's my number. I go up and I get it, and basically the extent of what that was is I was humiliated, and we were all smoked heavily for that. One of the more funnier things happened though. So when you get there, you're taught real quickly, cup your hands when you're outside. It's basically holding a fist, and don't talk. Keep your eyes straight forward, and you don't look around wherever you're going. So one of the new cadets in my platoon wasn't too keen on listening to those rules. So he was often talking, and they'd always catch him. He had a voice that carried. So they came up with some creative punishments for him. One of the punishments was, you know what E-tool is?
Yes.
It's like the collapsible shovel.
Oh yeah.
Well, New Cadet King had to carry his E-tool everywhere he went with him. No matter if he was going to the bathroom, he had to carry his E-tool with him. If he was going to PT, he had to carry his E-tool with him. His E-tool was his new girlfriend.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
and he had to carry that for the extent of the trains. That was kind of funny, but
Nice. Will, do you have anything, or is it all online?
Yeah, it's pretty much nothing is in person right now.
It's all online.
Nothing happened that was funny online, even.
Well, no, not really. It's like just going through classes. It's pretty formal, especially the ROTC. You're only addressing officers like when you're spoken to, stuff like that. So it's not a ton of per se like interactions with them and stuff like that. But like I said, you grow close to the people you're going through this experience with, and made a lot of friends. So if anybody's like interested, I definitely recommend doing it.
Do you have any stories with your friends? Anything
Just
in
like
the dorm?
going downtown Chicago, stuff like that. It's definitely interesting learning the city and like how to move around there. Never been to Chicago before moving down there, so trying to navigate the city transportation was pretty interesting. You come out of subway, stuff like that, and you'll see people that are high in the streets or crackheads.
Right.
The crackheads like to fight inanimate objects. I found a lot of bushes and trees getting destroyed by them, and fighting each other was something pretty cool. Or I guess not cool, but interesting. They come out of the subway, and then I see 2 people like sprint past me, and they're just like dead sprint after each other, and they get into the middle of the intersection, and they just start like hauling off, punching each other, stuff like that. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And within a matter of minutes, there were police like arresting them, stuff like that. But just 2 crackheads having fun, Chicago.
Yeah.
But I have a really funny story. So we get, I think I probably already told you this, but we have random drug tests. So you got to pee in a cup, right? Well, they got to watch you do it. Okay, so this didn't happen to me. This happened to another guy, and he. It was early in the morning, and sometimes when you get up in the morning, not only do you have to pee, you also got to poop, right? So
Please tell me you didn't poop in the cup.
no,
Because that happened to us.
what? No, you're kidding, right?
I'm not kidding. Someone pooped in the cup. Someone wasn't listening to instructions and pooped in the cup.
Simple instruction.
Simple instructions: do not poop in the cup. Oh, your mom found the poop cup.
So, your mom found the poop cup.
All right, so this guy, he has to go poop, and he's peeing into the cup, and then you move it out of the way right away because you got to keep going. So he's still peeing, and the the staff sergeant was watching him do that, and then he's like, "Permission to go poop, staff sergeant." And so he's like, "Granted," and then he drops his drawers and takes a poop right there, and then obviously the gunnery sergeant heard that from the head, and he storms in there. He goes, "What's going on in here?" So now he's got a staff sergeant and a gunnery sergeant just watching him take a poop. God, that would be so awful. I couldn't imagine that. And I was having like a conversation with the staff sergeant that was watching me, so that was kind of weird.
I did have one more funny story. So this actually happened during the academic year. For those of you that don't know, so we have most of our training over the summer. Sometimes we'll have training on the weekends, but for the most part, during the academic year, during the school year, we go to normal college classes like everyone else. You just deal with the Army stuff as well. So one of the big things at West Point is the Army-Navy game and the Army-Air Force game. So this was in preparation for our Army-Air Force game, and it's called Air Force Week. So usually there's some fun stuff that goes on. A lot of crazy things happen. One of the big things is spirit banners. So usually you take like a bed sheet and you make a funny banner and you hang it out your window. Mm-hmm. So my friends and I made a banner that said Air Force deploys to Sugandees on it and hung it out our window. Well, our window's in a main alleyway that a lot of people walk through, including a lot of officers.
Oh,
so we hung it up at night. And it's the next day. It's about time for lunch at mess hall, and I get a double knock on my door. Double knock usually means an officer. I'm like, oh shit. And I stand up and I call the room to attention, and a captain walks in and he's like, "Do you have a banner hanging out your window?" I said, "Yes, sir." He's like, "Take it down right now." And I'll go to my window, start opening it up, and I'm pulling the banner out, and he says, "What does it say on it?" I said, "Well, sir, are you familiar with memes?" And he's like, yes, I guess so. And I said, "Well, it says Air Force deploys to Sugandees on it." He said, "What does that mean?" He said, "Well, basically it means Sugandees nuts."
Sugandees nuts,
He was
sir.
pissed. He ripped the banner out of my hands and went straight to my TAC officer.
Oh.
And I didn't get the bad end of it. I think she did, unfortunately.
Oh.
But it was funny. It was a story to tell. Everyone was pretty proud of the banner. We got away with doing some funny stuff, but those are the memories you make.
Yeah, you see, that's really funny. That's a good story, and I don't, especially Will, we don't really get that because that's the biggest difference I think between ROTC and the academies. You don't really have traditions like that, like the games that you have. Well, I guess that just about wraps it up, unless anybody wants to add anything else. Anything, another story.
Well, I will say one thing. There's something in boot camp called getting IT'd, and that stands for incentive training. Yeah. So basically what a drill instructor will do if you screw up, and it could be, I'll tell you here in a sec, it could be the littlest thing. They'll take you out to the sand pit and just slay you to no end.
Slayer.
And they're standing there, they're kicking sand in your face, and they're screaming at you, and like, dude, push up, crunches, like stuff like that. And you're just going through all these different exercises. And I remember I got IT'd only twice in boot camp. Some people have been IT'd hundreds of times in boot camp.
Gosh.
The first time, so I was a squad leader in boot camp for most of it anyway. And it was during a field day, which in the military, that means you clean the entire squad bay or wherever you live. So I was telling my squad what to do. I was giving them like stuff to do to, get the job done. But I was standing there with my hands on my hips and pointing at people. And that's a huge no-no. Like, you don't do that. I remember one of my drill instructors, the craziest drill instructor, he came up to me, he was like, "Eyeballs you, get outside." And I was like, "All right, sir." And so I ran outside and I got my ass handed to me for like 30 minutes in the sand, just getting sand kicked in my face. Yeah, but some people had it way worse. They'd always IT kids right after chow, so they'd throw up. They'd IT kids right in the morning when they'd wake up in the rain. And they're just in skivvies, too. Like they're freezing cold. So, not fun.
No.
Hoo-ah.
Era Semper Fi.
Hoo-yah, Navy.
Ranger.
Whatever you.
Rangers lead the way. Oh, boy. Okay. Yeah, well, honestly, if anybody's interested in the military, I'm sure most of the people who are actually listening to this know us. So you probably know how to contact us. You probably can see that wherever you're listening to this podcast, you can probably find our contact information on there through social media. So if you're interested in the military, we'd be happy to talk to you about it. And like we said earlier, we are not subject matter experts on this because we are we're less than a year of our way through this journey. And like I said, I think I said earlier, for some of us it's 4, and for some of us it might be 20 or more. So, what we know now is little to what we will know.
Definitely.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where my journey goes, and I'm sure you guys are as well.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. I think that just about wraps it up. Everybody who's listening, thank you. We wouldn't be able to do this without you, without your support. We always love hearing people compliment the podcast, comment on it, and we love people who tell us that they want to be on it. That's always fun. So thank you for listening to FaceTime, the podcast.